So I'm a ways up now, up in northeast Texas, up just a little south of Texarkana, heading up towards, in southeast Oklahoma, the Honobia area. After spending a little time in southeast Oklahoma in this area, I learned it's actually pronounced Honabi or Honabi, not Honobia to the locals. And it's amazing. You can just see that there's lots and lots of forests and trees up here. And I stopped at a store, and the woman working there asked, "So what do you do? Are you passing through? You're a truck driver?" And I said, "No, I'm doing YouTube." She's like, "Oh, cool." And then I mentioned one topic that I cover is Sasquatch. And she was immediately like, "Oh, wow." And she wasn't even surprised, and said her family, a smell like woke them up in the middle of the night, and they saw a big hairy figure out the window. And it just makes me wonder how many people out here have experiences. I wish I could just go around and just knock on everybody's doors and ask them what they've seen, what they've heard. So fascinating. But yeah, the majority of what I've been seeing driving through here is a bunch of big open properties like this, where there's lots of trees, big pastures, and just a couple houses. Lots of farmland and livestock. Just plenty of places to roam around and hide. I actually took 2 trips to southeast Oklahoma. The first, I spent 5 days on the property where Robert Dodson did his research. And then I came back and spent 2 months camped in the southeast Oklahoma mountains. This first part is when I arrived at the area where Robert Dodson researched, and I met Udell Head, who I've since learned is quite well known in the area. Pretty early in the evening, he and I heard some vocals, and he immediately was certain that they were Sasquatch vocals, and you'll hear me talking about how they sounded a little different than the average howls that I've heard, and I was also pretty excited, so I talked over some of them. Sorry about that, but it was really cool. That was basically my welcome to Oklahoma, you could say. Listen to that. Out here in southeast Oklahoma. Can't hear a thing. Wow. It's like 65 out now, too. It wasn't it? Wow. I just caught that. That's a... Holy shit. Do you hear that a lot? Yeah. It's faint, but I think I could pick it up. Wow.
Which way is it coming from?
That way. That's different.
It's different.
No, I mean, it's... I was meaning... I was meaning different than what I hear.
Oh.
Holy shit. Good start. Welcome to Oklahoma. No freaking way. I hear that. I feel like I know what that is. Like, that's different.
Moving.
Yeah. I almost...
2 different ones. You got one too.
You've heard that a lot?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Wow. And where I'm facing right now, that's just forest for...
There's a national forest, and probably about a half a mile is a clear cut of warehouser land, timberland.
All right, well, I'm here in southeast Oklahoma with Brian Terrell of Red Dirt Cryptid Investigations. And I'm out here exploring, camping around, and I wanted to talk to Brian about what he knows about southeast Oklahoma, what he's heard from reports, and your experiences, what you've learned from what you've done with your investigations and all that.
Well, Oklahoma is a hot spot. People don't realize it. It's severely underrated. We've got everything that they need here. We've got habitat, we've got cover, we've got water sources like you wouldn't believe. They say that if you take all of our lakes and put them together, we have more waterfront property than Florida in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Wow.
We've got all different types of differing topography and terrain and fauna. You can almost cut the state into 4 different corners, and you almost have 4 completely different types of environments, And we've got everything, and we've got a tremendous amount of deer. And now, last couple of years, we've gotten so much wild hog activity. Their population is on the rise extremely rapidly, to the point to where we're concerned about them taking over and starting to predate on regular livestock animals and stuff.
Wow.
Matter of fact, several times when I was down southeastern Oklahoma, I've had run-ins with them, which is one of the primary reasons why I carry a gun. Because you never know, and they travel in large packs, and so you kind of have to be prepared. You need more than 6 bullets. I've found that out the hard way. So I had to retire my wheel gun and step up to a semi-automatic. So
Out here in Oklahoma, going through the woods on a 4-wheeler. We're actually heading in the direction of where those howls came from. Here's a spectrogram of those howls with the volume turned up. You can see that they're pretty flat, which some people point out as being something as a characteristic of the sound signature of Sasquatch vocals. I'm leaning towards that being Sasquatch, and Udell felt the same. I can't say for a fact, but here's the audio. Wasn't it? Wow. I just caught that. That's a... Holy shit. Do you hear that a lot? Yeah. It's faint, but I think I could pick it up. Wow.
Which way did it come from?
That way. That's different.
It's a different one.
No, I mean, I was meaning... Wow. I was meaning different than what I hear.
Oh.
Holy shit. Good start. Welcome to Oklahoma. No freaking way. I hear that, and I feel like I know what that is. Like, that's different.
It's moving. Or we're
Yeah,
putting it
yeah.
down.
I almost...
2 different ones.
Hmm.
You got one too.
You've heard that a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Through night vision with my phone. Wow. Oh, there we go. Trying to keep my phone centered. See if I could get thermal through my phone here. I feel like Robert Dodson was doing something like this because he had a little circle like this. Like he had a camera up to the...
To the FLIR?
Yeah, because it was a circle like this. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. So yeah, I'm thinking that I'm seeing lights through the woods over there, so that's not eyes. I also thought it was kind of odd that it was just sitting in one place. But yeah, so we're out here, first night in southeast Oklahoma. See if I get a little more light out of my headlamp. Looks like the battery is getting a little low. Pretty wild. A little windy. Quite the area. Here's a little bit of audio from my second night on the property. Nothing crazy, but I did find the sort of muffled, almost mumbling vocals around 30 seconds or so pretty interesting. And then just a few other odd sounds that I picked up that night. You'll likely need headphones to hear some of these. I'd say it's worth it, especially for those sounds about 30 seconds in and a little bit before that. I thought they were pretty interesting. I've heard something similar to that before. All right, so here we are in Oklahoma. Oh, looks like got the flashlight pretty good here. Oh, it's really thick right here. I am on a four-wheeler and I just drove out. I'm on private property and just wanted to go sit out. It's a bit chilly, but it's really nice and calm. Just see if I hear anything. We'll see. See how long I last. Having a look around. Southeast Oklahoma. I've definitely heard a lot about this area. And it's a really interesting area in Southeast Oklahoma. Very well known. People are looking into this subject. Wondering if I'm just out here alone or if there's anyone else around. All right. Just going out. Gonna put a recorder out here. I figured I'll do a little filming while I'm heading out. I'm sitting here with Denny Coleman, who is a realtor in the Southeast Oklahoma area and has some really interesting experiences of his own and has heard of different Sasquatch presence on properties that he's selling. So it's a really interesting ear into the world of Southeast Oklahoma. Yeah. Speaking with a realtor, somebody in the realty business, who's, got kind of an ear to the ground in a vast area. So would you share some of the Sasquatch stories you've heard or experienced in Southeast Oklahoma?
Yeah, I'd love to. If you don't mind, I'll start out. This is really not Bigfoot or Sasquatch related, but it kind of gives an example of some things around this area. A lot of people in this area you can talk to, they'll tell you there's no such thing. And I've been here my whole life, never seen anything or heard anything. Yeah. Well, I work at at the liquor store sometimes, and I was over there working the other evening, and a guy come in, walked up to me, and he said, "You're that guy that says he saw Bigfoot." And I said, "Yes, I've seen more than one." He said, "You're a liar." Of course, he said another word. And I asked him, I said, "Well, why do you say that?" He said, "I've been working these woods all my life. I work for the logging company, and I've been working this all my life, and I've never heard or seen anything like that." And I told him, I said, "Well, maybe it's because you're making so much of a racket out there that maybe that's why you haven't seen anything." Well, he got so mad, he literally wanted to fight me.
Wow. And
of course, I was respectful of him and told him, "Sir, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to mine." And I shook his hand and I told him have a good day. But getting away from that, this area around here, yes, I'm in real estate, and I do get to go on a lot of properties, and I try my best to walk the properties so I can be familiar with the properties that I'm wanting to sell. And I go on places on the properties maybe most people wouldn't even go. And not every time do I have an experience, but there's been many times that I have. And a lot of people has heard some of the podcasts that I've done over the years. The most recent one that I've had, and I've talked about this, I think, on the last one that I did, but I was going over to Honubby, and right like here, Honubby, Oklahoma, we pronounce it Honubby.
Honubby.
Yeah, and there's a tract of land down there. It's called the Preserve at Botuclo Mountain, and I've got a couple properties over there, and I was actually going over there to list a property and go take pictures, and you have to go through a locked gate to get back in there to it. So I'm going back in there, and as I'm coming over the ridge, right when I get on the top, I look down, and the first instance I thought, well, there's this really tall guy walking down the side of the road wearing a gray hoodie with long sleeves. And just about the time that I thought that and saw that, it heard me, and it just bolted and just took off down through the woods. And I thought, why in the world are they running? So I get down there at the bottom, and I started looking out across through there, and it would have been on my left-hand side. And it just drops off. There's no way that somebody would have been able to traverse that quickly. So anyway, I'm still thinking in my mind that there's somebody down in there, because this area is gated, and so there is little cabins and stuff down in there where people are moving in. So I called the guy, the developer, and I called him up, and I said, hey, I think y'all got a vagrant down in here running around. I said, you may want to tell all the people that live down in here that there's somebody down in here that's not supposed to be down in there. Well, he just started laughing at me. He said, oh, you saw that Bigfoot. And then it started dawning on me.
Wow.
He said, yeah, several people have seen him down here. He said, was he big, gray, skinny? I said, yeah, that's what I saw. It was gray, and but it looked like he had a hoodie on with long sleeves, and it was probably about 110 degrees that day. And I'm thinking to myself, why would somebody be wearing a gray hoodie with long sleeves out in this heat, and then be able to bolt down through them woods like that and down the side of the mountain? And then it just kind of dawned on me, yeah, okay, so yeah, I saw that. Then he sent me an artist's depiction of it, and yeah, this is exactly what it looked like.
Really? Somebody actually sketched it out accurately?
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll make sure I send you a picture.
So he was the property owner?
He's a developer.
Developer.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so he was aware already?
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, he was aware, and several people have seen him down there, but he's just a tall, skinny, gray Bigfoot. And should I say, the woods people or the mountain people, whatever they would call them.
Forest people.
Yeah, forest people. Yeah, but that's my most recent as far as visual that I've seen.
I am actually way in the back of the property now, which is quite a ways out there. All forest way out there. I just set up a recorder. Beautiful night, really calm. I'm not excited about all those frog sounds, so we'll see. Try one night and see how it sounds. Hopefully hear some cool stuff. Here's a couple more sounds I recorded. The first are a couple vocals, not really sure how to explain them. Almost like a mix between a grunt and a growl, like a scruffy growl. The second part of this is a bunch of bangs. I had the recorder one night on the deer feeder that you might have noticed towards the early part of the video. I just placed it up there, and something banged it. I think it was 5 times. A few times it sounded like something like a rock hitting it, and then on the last one it's sort of a soft bang, like a thump, like a somebody with their palm or something. And those bangs, I shortened them so they're not too far apart in the recording, but they actually occurred over like 10 hours through the night. So a little odd. I hadn't heard that on another night when I had the recorder on that same feeder. So not sure. Maybe someone was throwing objects at it and slammed it. I have heard of people, actually Brian Terrell, as a matter of fact, mentioned how sometimes he would put his recorder out and it would be like something was throwing objects at it. So maybe that's what it was. I don't know what else would bang it like that in February. I don't think stuff's falling out of trees. So here's the recordings. All right, well, I am way back there, way in the back of the property that I'm staying at, which is quite a ways out towards the forest. There's nothing else out here. I just put a recorder down. I'm not excited about those insect sounds and all that, but we'll see. Hopefully catch some cool stuff. Maybe it'll all go silent in the middle of the night and hear something. And if not, it's all good. So as I was heading up to Arkansas, at least that was my plan. When I left Falk, Arkansas, my plan was to head towards sort of west central, sort of northern Arkansas in the Ozarks. And my map routed me through southeast Oklahoma, so I took a look at the Bigfoot mapping project and I saw what you see here. And I ended up camping basically in the center of the screen. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see from the first view on the Bigfoot mapping project, you can see it's like a big, it's like a heat map. It looks like a pretty major area there. And so I saw all the reports and said, I got to go there. And I ended up staying there for 2 months. I didn't have too much luck in sort of southwest Arkansas. So I was kind of looking towards going a little further north. And my map is routing me through southeast Oklahoma right now. And there's a lot of stuff kind of across the border from Mena, Arkansas, a little north of Broken Bow. I don't know how it's coming out through here, but way in the distance I can see, looks like the tops of some of the mountains down here. It's kind of disappearing now. Looks like a little bit of a vantage point of them. Hoping to get some better views. I think I'm going over them actually. On a bit of an overlook, so that kind of gives you a bit of perspective of how high up I am. Been going uphill for a little while. I was looking for a nice view for a little while. I'd see like glimpses, but nothing great. So I've been here for 2 nights. I had to get a view, this view just down the street, surrounded by mountains. Heading to Mena, Arkansas to get some stuff at Walmart, and probably some zip ties, and hopefully get my bumper stable or whatever. I can't get a bumper right now, so I just gotta figure out how to keep it on. But what a cool area. So it's not the plan. But hey, as I was cruising through Oklahoma and had a look, I was like, wow, I'd love to go there. There's a decent view. Let's kind of open it up here. Yeah, these mountains are in all directions. I believe they're mountains. They're not really, really tall, but bigger than hills. So I've heard of the mountain ranges down here.
Since I've been up here, I've been living up here now right at 10 years, and had a lot of experiences up here on my property, on other properties, and I've had people go out with me. Just had some experiences. Just went out with me. I'm not a researcher. I'm not an expert in no way whatsoever. I can only just tell you what experiences I've had out there, and I've had a bunch. Tracks. I've heard them fighting. I've heard one singing. I've actually got a little bit of audio of one singing.
Wow.
And, but yeah, nothing. And you'll come talk to some people up here, like the man that came in, you know, that was so aggressive at me about it. I don't understand why it was. They'll tell you there's no such thing, but I know too many people, including myself, you know, that's had some pretty major experiences with them. They're having some experiences down at the Comanche Wilderness right now. I'm gonna try to get down there when I can, just to go down there and see if I can see some tracks. I have been down there recently where I've seen where it's pushed two trees over the trail going into a certain property down there, and tree breaks.
Wow.
Now, a lot of things that you might see in some locations where they build these structures and things, you don't really see that up here.
Really?
You see mostly tree breaks. You'll see, if you go out on certain properties, they might lay something in the road. I've had one use the bathroom on the trail before I got to a certain place on the property, and coming back out where it peed on the side of the tree, and I'm talking about a big foam. And I've had that happen. Been on a lot of properties that I won't even go in on because I start getting this certain feeling, and so I just stop right there and I'll just turn around and go on out. But that don't happen too often. I've been on some properties where I've had they've told me that a bear will do it, but they said black bear won't thump the ground. Well, I've had the ground thumped at me a few times, and there's not really any grizzly bears here or big brown bears here or anything like that that would thump the ground at you. So I'm assuming that it was a Bigfoot. I've had them pretend to be a hoot owl, and you can always tell that it's obviously something trying to mimic a hoot owl. And I've had that happen a couple times. I've heard them talk, and it sounds like some type of gibberish Japanese type talk. I've heard them talk amongst themselves like they were talking about me. I've seen the top of one's head on one property where it was basically following my clients. I was sitting under a tree waiting on them, and it come around right in front of me, and I just saw the top of his head.
Wow.
And it wasn't them. I know it wasn't them because they were way down there, and it was just a big black head. I saw that. Saw where one broke into a cabin at a place called Bear Den. I took some clients out there, and we get up to the cabin, and first thing I see when I get to the cabin was something that just ripped the siding off of it. And so we go up there, and I'm taking pictures of it and everything, and when we go down to the creek, get down to the creek, and there's this pungent smell around us. It's just so strong, it just make your eyes water. And the people that I was down there with, you know, they kind of thought what I thought. Well, whatever broke into the cabin up there is that's probably it down there. But we couldn't see anything. So we get on back up, get out of there, and I call up the guy that's got the listing on the place, tell him, hey, you know, you need to let the seller know that something has broke into the cabin up here. Well, he goes out there the next day, calls me up. He says, hey, Denny, did you see those fingerprints? I said, no, I didn't see any fingerprints, Chuck. And so he sends me a picture where it broke in. On the studs, there's these huge fingerprints.
Wow.
On there. So I take my pictures from the day before, and I blow mine up on the same stud and blow them up, and sure enough, you could lightly see fingerprints. So within that one day, whatever did that had some type of oily fingers, because overnight they darkened up on the studs. The same property I'd been on a couple times before, where I found a hog carcass on there. I found a deer carcass on there.
Where were they? Just
They wasn't too far away from the cabin.
just sitting there.
Yeah. And but you know, just ripped open. And I figured a big cat. That's what I figured. But no, it was apparently that's what did it. But the thing on that one there that got me was that after I went back and looked at my pictures, and I kind of blow things up around the ground, you could see the imprints of the tracks there, and they were huge. And then this particular Bigfoot, it was a Bigfoot. I didn't see it, physically see it, but it had claws. And in my experience, every Bigfoot that I've had an experience with did not have claws. So this one right here, perhaps, and I don't know much about the dog man.
Just thinking that.
But perhaps, maybe, that it's a dog man there. But now it's got big feet, whatever it is. And it took, I can kind of describe the panels on the side of the cabin. It was T111, but the tongue and groove T111 goes to the side. It grabbed them here on the corner and pulled them out and snapped them like that. Just pulled them out. Didn't like pull this way. It pulled them this way, but it left claw marks on a couple of them.
Wow.
I assumed it was a bear at first because of the claw marks, but then after I got to looking, I'm pretty sure it was not a bear because it left fingerprints. You know, bear don't leave fingerprints. And I'm talking about fingerprints. You can see the joints.
Wow.
Yeah. And that particular property there, it was sold, but the people, they don't even go down there.
Really?
No.
Too freaked out? Alright, so now I'm on my way back from Walmart. Look at those silhouettes way out there. I'll see if I can zoom in. Oh, there they go. Well, I just arrived deep in the wilderness out in southeast Oklahoma. There's not a sound. Wow. I did a bunch of research just watching videos on the area, southeast Oklahoma. And Area X comes up a lot. I think I'm pretty close to that from everything that I've learned about Area X, listening to people's stories, or if not, it might be in it. Wow, it's not a bird or nothing right now. Good sign. There's one in the distance. All right, so I got my tent set up, and it's like 7. So now I'm just sitting here listening. Seems like a really interesting area, so I'm on high alert. There's actually footsteps right now. Now I'm not hearing them. I'm thinking armadillo or something like that. Frickin' flies flying around. I can hear moving right now. A little bit of wildlife.
But anyway, Oklahoma is really great and diverse place. We've got a whole bunch of different types of things that they can eat, from animals and wild animals and stuff, and it's everything they need is right here. And there are other states that have it, but I think that Oklahoma, being as conservative as it is as a whole, tends to make sure that the amount of activity that we do have goes largely underreported. So I think that we're underrated, as far as like the BRFO shows, and even the Bigfoot mapping project and stuff. And but yeah, it's a great place to do research once you learn and get to know some of the different areas, and you get out there, and you just kind of got to get boots on the ground and get out there and start trying some of these places. And it took me a good 10 years of going out to different places, and I've camped in a lot of places that had like zero activity, but over the years I've found some pretty good places that we can go to and get some consistent results. So it is pretty nice, although I do live in one of the most unusual counties in the whole state, where we don't have any major rivers flowing through my county. So I have to travel, which is why I run in a Subaru, because I need the gas mileage. So because doing Bigfoot research is not a money making deal. It costs you money.
Yeah.
So even when you do have a YouTube channel and you have a small amount of money trickling in, you're going upside down.
Yep.
Every month.
Yep.
So, but anyway, yeah.
I don't know how many of these clips I'm going to post of riding on the four-wheeler, but if you're seeing this, then I guess I decided to post it. I like doing this once in a while and just listen. See what we hear. Doubt I'm gonna catch anything, but definitely an interesting forest. Well, I'm heading to Talihina now, to the Bigfoot Museum. And if you can see in the distance, there's basically mountains all around. So that's pretty cool. I can see, wow, there we go. I'm driving along, there's a mountain, I don't even know what you would call it, mountain ridge, but I mean, it's like really long. It's going all along beside me. And also on the other side too. It's just endless. I think sort of in this direction is the K trail that people talk about. I've heard of that a few times. That's so cool though. Look at this thing. What does that say?
Hi, I'm Tanya Kordak at the Bigfoot Museum in Oklahoma, and welcome. We're here a couple days out of the week. You can check us out on Google. We're here Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, and as time goes on, we'll be open more. We're actually moving our facility to Clayton to a bigger facility because we're kind of outgrowing this. This idea was created out of a Bigfoot experience I had. My husband and I moved up from Texas, and we were not Bigfoot people. We moved to beautiful southeast Oklahoma, and the land we purchased had Bigfoots on it. And we had a lot of encounters going on around us. We didn't know what they were. I was not much of an outdoor person, so I really didn't know the sounds I was hearing and the things that were going on around me. Till one day I had a daylight encounter, and that daylight encounter pretty well changed my life forever. I was so excited about the encounter that I reached out to other people around there that were moved up there from Texas, and because I thought, wow, everybody must be seeing these. And then I found out that's not the case.
All right, well, I'm at a different camping spot. This is actually one that Tanya at the Bigfoot Museum recommended. Not really hearing much wildlife yet. I kind of like that. I'd like it to stay like that at night so I can hear stuff better. Sort of at the base of a mountain, which is pretty cool. Yeah, we'll see what happens out here. Haven't heard a whole lot so far on my trip out here in southeast Oklahoma. Well, probably can't see anything, but I'm facing the brightest patch of the sky. Just right after I set the recorder, it almost sounded like a knock or something. It is totally calm, not a breeze or nothing. So, we'll see if anything happens. I didn't hear a whole lot over the course of the time I camped in this spot, but really early on the first night, I heard, similar to at the spot Denny recommended, almost like a knock mixed with a bang. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I heard it right after I turned on the recorder. You can hear me just moving around in the car. I had just set it up on the hood and then was just looking for something in the car. And then I came out and acknowledged it on the recorder and just said, I think I just heard like a bang back there. And then I'm leaving in 2 pretty nice owl hoots. Some people say Sasquatch imitate owls, so I often pay attention to owl calls. These are probably an owl, but either way, they're a pretty nice recording of one. So here's that recording. Alright, I was just in the car, but I think I just heard a bang. Well, I'm doing a little hike here in southeast Oklahoma, and I noticed this just off the trail. Pretty cool arched tree, and one below it, and possibly one right over there. Even maybe 2. Not sure about this, but looks like one right behind it there. A big arched tree. Not seeing any other ones like that. Sitting here for a minute on this creek. It's pretty dry. There is a tiny bit of running water. You can kind of see it in between those rocks. It's pretty quiet here. There. I don't know if that'll pick up. That sounded like a whoop. I just heard a couple of them and started recording. It's really faint, but it's right that way. There was another one. It's so faint though. It's pretty cool though. There's another. There's another. I decided to just take the audio and turn it up a little bit with my voice in it, and then I will take just the whoops and turn that up even more, and hopefully some of you can hear those. So here's those two recordings. There. I don't know if that'll pick up. That sounded like a whoop. I just heard a couple of them and started recording. It's really faint, but it's right that way. There was another one. It's so faint though. It's pretty cool though. There's another. There's another. All right, I'm actually in a different spot where I set up a different recorder. Let's see. That's where we are. Southeast Oklahoma. It's crazy. It's pretty cool being in like East Texas, Southeast Oklahoma. Can't really see too far here. It's pretty thick. A little ways through there. I've been learning about the late Robert Dodson, and this is his research area. It's pretty crazy to think about when I hear about him. I didn't really follow him before, and I've started listening to people watching an interview, and they spoke a lot about him because they had their experiences with him, and I've watched some of his videos. Pretty crazy. Don't do this at home. That was nuts. Don't ever do this at home. Here's the little bell that he had in his videos, or the horn.
Don't do this at home. Whatever you do. It's right over here. Don't ever do this. That was a rock. Oh shit. He's behind me there.